What's going on, everybody? Cowboy C3. Uh, Running a bit behind schedule today, but it's all right, man. We're ready. Cowboys Texans this week. Uh, Tomorrow night on at AT&T Monday Night Football. It's a big night. Let's talk about it right here on Cowboy Spit.
Here we go! Yeah, here we go! Wait, take
Cowboys throws back of the end zone. There's CeeDee Lamb.
What's going on, everybody? Cowboy C3. Cowboys Texans interstate battle. Little brother comes into town tomorrow to try to take the crown from big brother. Cowboys versus Texans tomorrow night, AT&T Monday Night Football. Texans are a 7.5-point favorite. It's going to be tough. This one's going to be a tough one. Cowboys right now have the 21st ranked offense, and the Texans come in with the 15th ranked offense, which is a little bit surprising because that offense, well, I guess it's not. That offense is a little sporadic. They have their highs and lows, but, led by C.J. Stroud and Joe Mixon, the offense is pretty dynamic. They can throw, passing yards this year. They've had 2,187 passing yards, also rushed for 1,194 yards. Joe Mixon leading that charge. They do a lot of different things. Nico Collins is coming back tomorrow, which is a huge plus for them. Tank Dell has really kind of stepped up and done big things. You know what? It's not that serious. I'm not even that nervous about this game because you'll see in a second. I just this is one of those games, man, where you play for pride. That's what you do. You playing this one for pride. The Texans, like I said, the Texans do a lot of things well. And CJ Stroud is coming to, he's kind of coming to his own, and he's done some really fantastic things, as a second-year starter. He's kind of hit that second-year bump, though. He has. And he's done some not so characteristic things for him in football games, but they're a pretty good. They're a pretty decent football team. They're not bad at all. They're leading their division, which is probably not the best division in the NFL, but shit, neither is the NFC East. You know what I'm saying? But Texans coming into the game on a losing streak, though, and it's been kind of tough for them. They've lost their last couple of games, primarily because their offense can't really move the football in crucial times, right? They love to go vertical. That's their thing. They like the vertical passing game. And if you can take that away from them, you have a chance. Nico Collins is still their leading receiver, right? But Stephon Diggs, I was really looking forward to the brotherly matchup, right? That was like one of the things that was real big in the beginning of the season. You finally get to see Trayvon versus Stephon. You see these videos in the offseason. They're finally going to be healthy enough to come and play into the regular season. And Stephon goes out with this non-contact knee injury that put him on IR, and he's out for the season. Dalton Schultz, former tight end of the Cowboys, is the Texans tight end. Same thing he was doing here. He's not really a big blocker, and not really a big run after the catch dude, but he's reliable. He'll catch a lot of passes for you, and he'll do a lot of things, in the passing game for you. Especially with Nico Collins being out the last couple of weeks, Dalton Schultz has got more than his fair share of opportunities. But we'll look at the injury report here in a little bit. Nico Collins will be back for this game. So Texans post, they come in with the third-ranked defense in the NFL, and you talk about flying to the football. These dudes, they get after the ball, but they take on the persona of their head coach. They take on the persona of DeMeco Ryans. tremendous defender back in the early 2000s with the Houston Texans. They bring him in from San Francisco, and immediately it turns that team around. And they got a great offense. Don't get me wrong; they do tremendous things on offense. However, this defense that they have, man, they're pretty. I hate it, man. They're good. They are really good. The defensive line is led by Will Anderson Jr., but he's going to be out. So you look at Derek Barnett, Tim Settles, look like Kurt Heinz and Danielle Hunter. Danielle Hunter has quietly had a borderline Pro Bowl season this year. He is a tremendous player coming off the edge. Linebackers led by Jake Henson, and then at corner, man, Derek Stingley Jr., man, has just turned out to be a fantastic pickup for them. There was a lot of things coming out of him. Him coming out of LSU was a lot of weird things going on. He was at LSU. Looks like he's left all that stuff behind him, man, and he's come out. He's turned out to be a pretty tremendous player for them. Safeties will be out. So safeties, Kalen Bullock and Jimmy Ward. Jimmy Ward, is a fantastic safety. Kalen Bullock is pretty good too. Camry Lassiter would have been their starting corner, would have been the other starting corner. It looks like Chris Boyd is going to take that because, and then they lost Jeff Okudah early in the season. So they've dealt with kind of some injury things, but they've progressively gotten better and better. Offensively, though, missing your best receiver, CJ Stroud being a little bit erratic at times, right? The pickup of Joe Mixon was tremendous. Last year, their running game wasn't that fantastic, but, they still were decent. This year, it's a lot better. They can, at the end of games, when they have to close out football games, they can run the ball. Joe Mixon, excellent running back with the Bengals. Bengals let him go in free agency, came to Houston, and the rest is going to be history. It'll be pretty good. Cowboys come in with the 26th ranked defense in the NFL. We all know the Cowboys' woes, man. They haven't been doing very well. Giving up 1,897 yards passing and also giving up 1,369 yards rushing. Micah Parsons is back, and he's going to be a key to this football game. He's going to have to do some disrupting in order to try to throw CJ Stroud off. But the Cowboys secondary is going to have to cover tomorrow. That's what they're going to have to do because they're going to try to put the ball down the field and put you in, precarious situations and then run the ball right up the middle. And the Cowboys haven't done a fantastic job of stopping the run this year. But hopefully, we can do better. This is not a divisional game by any stretch, but this is a rivalry game strictly because it's the state of Texas. Dallas and Houston, we don't get along. I don't mind Houston. I went to the University of Houston. I actually love the city, but even basketball with the Rockets and the Mavericks, we don't get along. Rangers and the Astros is like a tremendous rivalry. That thing is brutal, and they're in the same division, so they have to play each other a lot during the regular season. But so here's the thing: it's not that serious, and I agree with you 100%. The Cowboy defense, I don't think they're that terrible. I think they're bad up the middle, and specifically talking about the defensive tackles. Carl Lawson has come in and done a pretty good job at defensive end. Now you got Micah Parsons back in. Eventually you may get DeMarcus Lawrence back. I don't know if that's ever going to happen because of the Linsfranc injury, and that could be pretty significant. And that's just where you put all the pressure on the ball of your foot and he can't push off. So Carl Lawson has stepped in and done a good job. Micah Parsons' last game, they started off extremely hot. Linebackers were flying around. Defensive tackles didn't even look that bad in the Eagles game. I think they just got tired. I think they you can only sustain that energy for so long if you're constantly on the field. That's the key to it. The Cowboy offense is going to have to do better than 46 yards passing tomorrow. They're going to have to if they want an opportunity to win this game. And we'll go over that a little bit more in keys to victory. But and it could take some, I don't know, finagling around with the offense. And what I mean by that, man, is I'm serious. I'm serious about when the Cowboys get inside the red zone, and especially let's say inside the 10, and you need a running threat. Why not put Trey Lance in the game? It can't hurt anything. It can't. just a little read option play, just to keep the defense honest, because the Texans defense, they have a tendency to pin their ears back and cause disruption. That's what they like to do. They like to cause disruption in your backfield. And what they'll do is they'll blitz. It's going to be blitz heavy tomorrow, especially against Cooper Rush. They are not going to let him stand back there and just be comfortable and throw the football around. Even though, the Cowboy receivers haven't done a great job of getting open this season. There's been some opportunities that have probably been missed because the quarterbacks, whether it's Dak Prescott, Cooper Rush, or Trey Lance, they've always had somebody in their face. And if the offensive line can kind of solidify some things up front, I think, you would see some improvement, right? I don't think it would be great, and I don't think it'll be great until you get into the offseason and you start making some significant changes to this football team. But for this year, you kind of roll with what you got. You know what I mean? There's some experimental things that you can probably do, but and I'm not saying it's a bad thing to do it right now, because you're kind of in a position where I'm not going to say the season is just 100% over, but you're at a position right now where you can come in and you can try some things out just to see what works, even for the future, if a person has a roster spot for next year or not. So, the Texans are a good opponent, but with the position that the Cowboys are in right now, some change is needed. And, I wouldn't be opposed to trying some things out just to see if they work, and if they don't, I mean, what do you really have to lose? Injury reports for tomorrow. Texans only have a few players out. Will Anderson is going to be out. It looks like Nico Collins was a full participant. He was a limited participant on Thursday, full participant on Friday, full participant on Saturday. He's going on Monday. Also, Jeff Okudah, it looks like he's questionable for the game. Kwame Lassiter is questionable for the game. Like, they got some guys, man, that have the potential to come back. Cowboys injury report looks a lot different. Deron Bland did not participate again in practice. I don't know what's going on with that, man. There's really no news about it. Like, nothing's coming out. It's just like, yeah, his foot is hurting. He's still out. I know he's already used up his 21 days coming off the IR. That foot injury, it's got to be a little bit more serious than what we than what we've been led to know, to believe, whatever you want to call it. And that's pretty obvious. Like, he hasn't even really practiced yet. I know he came out maybe for a week, maybe right before the Detroit game. He came out for a few days and did some work, to the side in a limited participant kind of scenario. But since then, there's been nothing, absolutely nothing. Wanye Thomas is coming back from the concussion. He was a full participant, so he'll get some playing time at safety. Nick Vigil, linebacker, still questionable. Zach Martin with a shoulder, limited all week. He's questionable. Man, Hunter Lemke, they got him listed as doubtful. He didn't practice all week. He's got a calf strain going on. Jordan Lewis, another one, he's out for this week, which is kind of an interesting thing. Jordan Lewis has had an excellent season. He's had a great season, to be honest. He's done a really good job, whether it's supporting the run or the pass. And I think they'll kind of miss him in nickelback. CeeDee Lamb hurt his back Saturday in a 7-on-7 drill. Mike McCarthy came out right after practice and said they're really not concerned about it. He is listed as questionable for the game. Not real sure. Well, hopefully he can go. And Jake Ferguson, the tight end, with another, he has an illness. So probably got the flu bug, and he's questionable for the game as well. So you got a formidable opponent coming in, first place opponent, playoff contender for sure. What can you do to win this football game? So we got the Cowboy keys to victory, man. I kind of like this thing. Got the Cowboy keys to victory coming up. Okay, so offensively, somehow, some way, if you have to leave, and this could include Zeke as well, you are going to have to try to give Cooper Rush a little bit of time to throw the football. We can't have another 47-yard performance, in order for him to be successful. You can't do that. So that's two keys to victory right there. Offensive line is going to have to perform, right? no matter what you have to do. And Cooper Rush is going to have to do better than 47 yards passing. Cooper Rush, and I think he's an effective quarterback, especially in the aggressiveness of the Houston Texans defense is going to give you some opportunities. And it'll give you opportunities in intermediate and deep game, right? Because you'll have a lot of man-to-man coverage. The thing about it is Derek Stingley Jr. is going to be manned up on CeeDee Lamb all game. He's a good corner. I think CeeDee Lamb is a better receiver than Derek Stingley Jr. is a good corner, but it'll give you that defense, that type of defense will give you some opportunities to do some things. Empty the trick playbook. I'm not opposed to it. I'm not opposed to it at all. Or just run some regular plays. If they start to get aggressive, man, run a halfback screen. Run a tight end screen. Run something to slow this pass rush down, right? And I think another important key to tomorrow will be Rico Dowdle is going to have 75 yards rushing at least in order to give them an opportunity to win this football game. And the reason that I say if you get 75 yards rushing tomorrow, you're keeping the defense off the field, right? You are keeping the defense off the field. And even if it's just for a couple of extra series, just to give them some rest so they're not out on the field, 35, 40 minutes in a football game. That's what you don't need. 3 and out tomorrow is not really an option if you want to have an opportunity to win the football game. So, got to block it up. Cooper Rush has got to be pretty good, and you got to be able to run the football. Cooper Rush doesn't have to be great. He just needs to be good. He is going to have to complete some passes, throw some passes in some tight windows. The thing about Cooper Rush is that we really don't see him do that a lot. He has a tendency to float footballs. That's what he does. He's an anticipation thrower. Receiver's supposed to cut. He's going to put the ball where he thinks the receiver is going to be. And by the time the receiver cuts and turns around, the ball will be there. And that throwing the football like that, it also gives the DBs, sometimes it'll give them an opportunity, right, to catch up to the football. My point in saying that show the defense something different this season. I agree 100%. And the reason I say throw some screen passes, that's just something that the Cowboys don't do. And I wish that they would do it because I think that it would definitely slow this pass rush down that, no matter what team it is. Your offensive line has got some weaknesses. And we all know that. Your right side of your offensive line has not played well at all. And your left side has been suspect at times. Your center is doing, to be honest, if you watch him play, he's doing a pretty good job. He's definitely not doing bad. He's not doing great either, but he's doing a good job. Zach Martin, if he is questionable, TJ Bass will probably step into that position. And I think TJ Bass will do a pretty good job. Your left tackle, Tyler Guyton, he seems to be, healthier, right, where he can go. At least he can attempt to go this week, and give him an opportunity, to go out there. It was a little bit of, he caught a little bit of criticism last week. He came out for pregame warm-ups, decided he couldn't go, said his neck and his shoulder hurt too much, so he couldn't go. Well, he's healthy this week. Let's see what he can do, and hopefully he does a good job. Keys to victory for defense. First thing you're going to have to do is you're going to have to make C.J. Stroud uncomfortable. You have to make him uncomfortable. If you give him a little bit of time, and Justin Herbert, that LA Charger team this year under Harbaugh, man, they look like a completely different football team. Hell, J.K. Dobbins ain't even tore his knee up yet. He running the damn ball. He's one of my fantasy running backs. I'm hoping he has a great night. He give me some points too. But I like that Charger football team. They're not bad. They're not bad at all. Cincinnati, on the other hand, I don't know what's going on with them, man. They just kind of in a slump, and we kind of familiar like that. We kind of familiar about that around here too. Hey, we get Cincinnati later. I hope they keep slumping. They can come in here, and give us a victory. That's what I hope. So defensively, put some pressure, whether you have to manufacture pressure with DeMarion Overshown blitzing him or Micah Parsons just has a fantastic game. Carl Lawson comes in and helps out as well. You're going to have to put some pressure on C.J. Stroud. They are definitely a pass-first team. They love to pass the football. But if you look at their numbers, again, they're pretty balanced. They can be because what they'll do is they'll come out slinging the football and make you come into, make you back off into a nickel dime coverage. and just run the ball down your throat with Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon is a powerful running back. He's good, very, very good, solid running back. Stays healthy, does good things for that offense. Number 2, keep the speed in front of you in the secondary. You have to keep the speed in front of you in the secondary. Nico Collins is coming back. He's not really that big of a speed burner, but he runs fantastic routes and he can get open. Tank Dell is a blur. You are going to have to keep him in front of you in order to be successful tomorrow. If you let him get behind the defense, and CJ Stroud, even his NFL career back at Ohio State, whatever, he throws an excellent deep ball. Excellent deep ball. You cannot let Tank Dell get behind the DBs and wreak havoc down the field 40, 50 yards. You cannot do it. If you see that tomorrow, if you see Tank Dell running free down the middle of the field, it is going to be a long, long night. Because what the Cowboys will do is overcompensate and back everybody off of coverage, and they'll just throw little dump passes, 5, 10-yard passes, and they'll run Joe Mixon all night long. And as soon as you step up in the coverage, Tank Dell's right back down the scene. They play Tank Dell like I wish the Cowboys would play Kevontae Turpin. Lining up a 5'7" wide receiver outside and running him against number 1 corners is not the way to play not the way to play Kevontae Turpin. But the Cowboys consistently do it. They like to line up Tank Dell in the slot and let him loose. And it can be a problem. He does a lot of different things. He's a small guy, but he gets upfield. He runs crossing routes. He runs deep corners. He does everything for that offense, and he's good at it. And while you're worried about him, Nico Collins is down low eating, and then Dalton Schultz starts doing his thing. You have to keep the speed in front of you tomorrow. If you keep the speed in front of you, you'll be okay. And number 3, you're going to have to tackle. And it's going to be one of those games where Joe Mixon is one of those type of running backs where he's not blazing fast. He's got pretty decent speed. He likes to run for power. He's not afraid of contact. And it's one of those type of running games that's just taxing until he breaks a 15, 20-yard run. If we can do these 6 things, the 3 offensive keys and the 3 defensive keys, we have a tremendous shot of winning this football game. Little brother will not come in here and bully you around. However, my prediction tomorrow, Texans 30, Cowboys 15. Okay, let's go 17. I think the Cowboys will find the end zone. I think they'll find it once early and once late, and I think they might get a field goal or 2, or maybe a few field goals in there and then a couple touchdowns, hopefully. I mean, they have an opportunity. It's a tremendous weapon when you're in field goal range once you hit the 50-yard line. And that's what you need to do. No matter what, right? No matter what, you have to take advantage of all the points that you can get because the Texans are going to come in here and they're going to score some points. That's what they're going to do. It's a good football team. It's a solid football team. It's a well-coached football team. It's a tough football team. And they definitely have taken on the persona of their head coach. 31-14. Not a bad prediction. I don't disagree with it at all. I just don't think the Cowboys can do enough tomorrow. And to be honest with you, I don't even know if they really want to do much more than that tomorrow, just to be honest. It comes a point, right, where things just get to be too much. And there's a big fuss that was going on, man, this week about you had the Jake Paul, Mike Tyson fight in there Friday night. Well, game started at 3:30. And one of the things that the fight promotion said was like, hey, this sunlight coming in here shining on the ring, man, that ain't what it is. So what they did was they hung a big Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson banner in the window to block the sunlight. You can't make this shit up. You cannot make it up. You can't get it for a football game. He refuses to put anything in the window for football games, but to promote this fight, he hung a banner up, and it was a big one, and it blocked the sunlight. I don't know, man. Sometimes, man, football, especially if you have a football team, an NFL football team, football comes first. It does. And if football comes first, football coming first, and the Cowboys winning can probably make you much more revenue than anything else that you're doing right now. Seriously, because the world would they need to reverse that balance. Tragic. Like seriously, it's a weird thing going on this year, man. And I think that it's gonna have to be some changes, man. It has to be. And you start talking about these things, man, and you start talking about the front office of the Cowboys, man, and you almost feel like you're beating a dead horse, right? But that horse has been beating us for 30 years. It has. It's been giving us the business for 30 years. And, as a devoted Cowboy fan, my entire life, I just want to see my football team win, man. That's what I want to see. And I wish that everybody, especially everybody in the organization, felt the same way. I do. I wish they felt the same way. But, we'll see. Anyway, tomorrow, Cowboys, Texans, Monday Night Football, another primetime game for the Cowboys. It's it's tough being a Cowboy fan. Like it's tough, but I'm at work. I still got my lanyard. I still wear my Cowboy socks. You know what I'm saying? And let everybody see them and everybody laugh. Like, why you got on them loser socks? And I'd be like, man, hey, that's my squad. Win, lose, or draw. I'm a Cowboy fan for life. DCFL, baby. So tomorrow, Monday Night Football. No matter what, win, lose, or draw, after the game, we coming in here. We'll be live. And hopefully we got some good things to talk about. And I'm not even necessarily concerned with the outcome of the game. The only thing that I'm seriously concerned about is the Cowboys come out, play hard, and put up a fight. Your owner's pride, my owner's gross ineptitude. Right. So it's funny that you say that, because I think that my owner is gross ineptitude, but his pride is in the way to admit it. That's what I think. He is a very, very, very proud man. He's a very, very, very proud owner of the Dallas Cowboys. He loves to be known as the owner, CEO, CFO, general manager, face of the franchise. He loves that, and that's him, right? That's him. And he is one of those people that he loves to be in the limelight. Well, him loving to be in the limelight is getting in the way of the football team. And it's been getting in the way of the football team for a long time. And, sure, we've had some teams in here that have come in that a lot of people thought that they would win football games, and certainly me. But if you start to actually just sit back and think about it, man, like, they're unprepared, and they're unprepared for a reason. And, hopefully there's some change. And I think that's what everybody's hoping for. Everybody's like, okay, I'm hoping that the front office, they see the things that are happening this season, and they see the ridicule. And one thing about Jerry don't like you to talk bad about him at all. He can deal with it after a playoff game, because then, they're not in the locker room no more. Media's not in the locker room. You don't have to worry about that stuff. The season's over. But it's been like that since week 2 now, and it's starting to have an effect on him. And I think this offseason, you might see some critical changes made to the football team, and I think they'll be for the good. At least I hope so. And it could just me being real optimistic. There hasn't been really any changes to the lineup except for the coaches, for the coaching staff, football wise, of course. But in the upper chain of command, there hasn't been a lot of changes in a long, long time. And I think you'll see some this year. I hope so. Jerry kind of gave a hint the other day on a radio show here in the Metroplex. He talked about what could be And I'm just saying, what I'm doing is just putting a little something in the atmosphere, right? He talked about how great of a coach Jason Witten would be. And if you think about it, right, former player, knows how to work the locker room. And one thing about it is he knows how this organization works. He was with this organization for a long, long time, his entire career, Hall of Fame career. He was here, right? He never left this locker room. And he knows exactly how the organization works. He knows exactly how Jerry works. And Jerry wouldn't have to work that hard to build a relationship with him because it's already there. So, just saying. He's right now, Jason Witten's coaching his son's high school football, but they have a really good team. And they probably win a state championship this year in the TAPS division in the private school sector. There's just, there's some things that need to happen within the organization in order for things to change. And it starts up top, right? It starts, with fielding a quality football team. You did really good for 3 years. You went 12-5. You fielded good teams, just couldn't get it done in the playoffs. And I think, most people know, and especially if you watch this show, you know how I feel about it. I just feel like they're underprepared. And that's why, you come out and do the same old thing you've been doing all season, you're going to get beat. You got to throw some wrinkles in it. Kind of like you said, it's not that serious. You got to show something new, right? You got to show something different, right? You have to. And then you can get back into your normal things. And you don't have to throw everything new up front. But anyway, tomorrow, 7:30, Cowboys versus Texans. We'll get it in, and we'll be live right after the game. Win, lose, or draw. All right? You guys have a great evening. Enjoy this Cincinnati LA game. I'm going to go enjoy it myself. And you guys have a great night, and we'll see you tomorrow, man. I feel like we had a Super Bowl caliber team as well. I did. I just don't think we had Super Bowl caliber coaches. It is what it is. All right, y'all. We'll see y'all tomorrow, man. Cowboys versus Texans, Monday night. Go Cowboys, DCFL. Holla at y'all soon, man. Peace.